The trefoil knot, also known as the Trinity knot, is one of the most useful knots that you can draw. This triangular shaped design fits in so many little spaces in your work and is really handy to know. Today I'm going to show you 2 different techniques to draw it. Coming right up. Hello everyone, I'm Carrie Buziak of AON Celtic Art. I'm a published author and a Celtic artist teaching modern techniques and ancient art. I've been teaching these techniques for the last 25 years from my website as well as my book, Creating Celtic Knotwork. Before we get going today, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you're kept up to date on all new tutorials. I have some exciting things to share with you guys today. Long time back, I designed some t-shirts. I used to sell them from my website. And I've done some new ones. So I've got a few designs made already. They're up on my Etsy page. You can go by and check them out. I'll put the link in the comments below. And I hope to do an unboxing with you guys as soon as the rest of my samples come. I'm just waiting on some jewelry samples from the company that I license my work to make jewelry from. And once those all come, I'm gonna do an unboxing of them all together so you guys can see all the goodies that I have. The reason why I'm getting all these, I'm going to do a giveaway. So no deadline on it yet. I'm still finding a few more partners to partner up with. We're going to make a nice big batch of goodies. My goal is to do something like 1 giveaway a week over a month, and I'm just really excited by this. I'll have more details as I get closer to the date and once I've finalized all the supporters that are going to be joining in on it. I think you guys are really going to like the packages. I've also added a new page at the end of my videos thanking my Patreon supporters. Now, you all know that I have a Patreon page. I've mentioned it a few times. But what you may not know is that each year I do a commemorative coin. So in 2019, we did a little horse. I'll see if that'll show up. There he is, yeah. So just a little Celtic horse with a braid around it. And everybody voted on that. And then I did up the artwork for it and sent it off to have the coins made. I'll be doing the same thing this year. So this is only for the $5 tier and up. And you have to be a member for the year to get that year's commemorative coin. So we'll be starting voting like end of September or so. So make sure you sign up as a patron by then so you can get your coin as well for the 2020 year. So on to today's lesson. Today I'm going to teach you how to draw a trefoil knot. Now this is a triangular shaped knot that you see a lot in ancient Celtic art and I find very helpful in my own art for filling spaces and holes. You may have seen these called the Trinity knot. I don't like to use names or meanings like that with my knots if I can help it. I have a video planned where I'm going to cover knot meanings. It's a little bit of a spicy rant, so I'm just going to set that aside from now, and I'm just going to call it a trefoil knot. So the first way I'm going to show you how to make these is using a drafting compass. If you don't have one of these, you can just skip ahead to the second part of the tutorial where I'll show you how to freehand them, but for those who do have one, feel free to give this method a try. No dot paper needed this week, just a pencil eraser and a sheet of paper. Method number 1, using a compass. To start, spread the arms of your compass apart, say maybe 2 or 3 inches, and draw a circle on the page. Without changing the compass setting, remove the compass from the center of the circle and put the pivot point at the very top. Pivot your compass to make a tick on both the left and right hand side of that original circle. Those marks to the left and right are now going to become your new pivot point. So insert the point of your compass in that leftmost tick and swing an arc through the circle. Next, place your compass point in the right-hand tick and swing another arc through. We need to divide our circle one more time yet. So place your compass point where one of the green lines passes your original circle. I've done it here on the left side. Swing your compass around to make a final tick on the bottom. Insert your compass point in that bottom tick and swing your last arc. At this point, you should have 3 petal shapes evenly spaced around the circle. Now open up your compass a little further. However much more you open it will determine how thick your knotwork strands are. Insert your compass point in that upper left tick and swing a new arc on the left. Insert the point in the upper right tick and swing a second arc. Lastly, put your compass point in that bottom tick and swing your final arc. On my copy, I'm just going to remove that circle and the ticks just so it's a little easier to see what's going on. Now I'm just going to clean up the ends a little bit so they're not overshooting each other and they come to nice fine points. For the last stage, we just have to weave it up. So I'm going to pick an intersection. Again, it never matters which one you choose to start with. I'm going to start with that sort of upper left one there, and I'm going to erase it as if it's going over the strand below it. The red arrow shows the direction I'm going to keep erasing in. So if that was an over, my next one has to be an under, and then an over for the remaining one. With those 3 intersections done, the whole knot is woven. With the compass, you see we end up with a very symmetrical knot, with each point being exactly 120 degrees from the previous one. A lot of times when I'm teaching my workshops, the students will ask if I still use these techniques myself. And honestly, the compass method, yeah, I don't. I freehand all those knots now. I find with the compass is just too fussy with all the ticks and whatnot. It's nice when you're making a standalone design that say you're going to fancy it up a bit and you want it to have that really symmetrical look to it. But a lot of times in my work, I'm using these knots to fill holes and gaps. And a lot of times those holes and gaps aren't perfect triangles. They're tall and skinny and short and fat, and I just need the flexibility of freehanding them. I also find it's a lot faster to do than bringing out the compass and doing all the stuff with it. So I really prefer the freehand method myself. The other's handy, so now you know how to do it if you want to use it in a particular piece, but let's try the freehand method now and you can be the judge. Method number 2, freehand knotting. So to make our freehand Trinity knot, start with 3 dots on the paper. Draw a light dividing line going vertically through that topmost dot. Now from that top dot, draw an arc that goes down to that bottom left-hand dot, making sure to leave a bit of room between your arc and that center dividing line. And starting from the top dot, draw another arc on the other side, kind of mirroring that first one that we drew. Next, join those 2 bottom dots with another arc. To make these lines into a knot that we can weave, we need to add a thickness to this original line. So I'm going to echo that line on either the outside or the inside and make a second line that follows it at an even distance. Once that line has been doubled up, we weave it just like we would any other knot. I pick an intersection, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start with that left-hand one and I'm going to erase it so it looks like it's going over. The red arrow shows the direction that I'll continue erasing in. If that was an over, then the next intersection I encounter, the strand needs to pass under. Then the final intersection would be another over, and that completes the whole knot. So essentially what we did here was we took a single line, we doubled it up to make a knot that we could weave, and then we wove the final design. Now this can be done in a number of different ways. For example, let's look at the Book of Kells Folio 7 Verso. The knot begins as before, with a single trefoil knot being drawn on the page. There's also a smaller one nested within that. Like before, we're going to double up both these lines, either by drawing a second line outside of it or inside of it. Now something to keep in mind here is we only want 2 strands to overlap at any given point. So if you look how the smaller trefoil knot is nested within the larger one, except for the intersections that we'll be weaving later, nowhere else does it cross over the larger knot. So you can see as I point out the areas with the red arrow, those places remain clear, allowing us to freely weave up the design without anywhere that's overlapping with 3 strands, only 2 at any given place. So in the final knot, you can see the smaller trefoil knot is cleanly woven in the center of the larger one. So let's look at another example of how you can approach this when making your own trefoil knots. A trefoil knot, again, is a triangle. So if you imagine or sketch in a triangle shape on your page with a vertical bisecting line, you can sketch or doodle a design in one half of the triangle, and then when it's mirrored or flipped to fill the other half of the triangle, you have a design that again can be doubled up and then woven like a regular knot. By changing the distance of that second line that you double up with, you can change how fat or thick your knotwork strokes will look. By taking this concept of starting with one sketched line and then doubling it up so you can weave it, you can do any number of possible final designs. You can also make variations on that original design by changing the points or tips of your knots. So in the left-hand design, you see that nested knot that we made before. But in the second one, I made a variation of it by making that inner one more rounded and then the outer one more pointy. The third design has a nested trefoil again, but this time it's turned at 60 degrees to the original and nested that way. And then the fourth design, you see it's the same thing, only again I've changed the corners to change up the design a bit. So to freehand up more variations of these trefoil knots, you can start the same way. Start with a triangle as your rough outline shape with a bisecting line running on the vertical, doodle in one half and then flip it. And as you can see here, there's just any number of designs that can be created off of this triangle base. Your mission this week, should you choose to accept it, is on worksheet number 8, and I'll include a link to that down in the comments below. So there you have it, 2 different techniques for drawing a trefoil knot. I hope you found this handy and that you'll have use for it in your own work. And again, if you run into trouble, add a comment in the space below and I'll try to answer as best I can. These and many more of my techniques are covered in my book, Creating Celtic Knotwork by Dover Publications. So if you're enjoying this instructional material, do check that out because it's got even more tips and tricks inside it. And before we go, don't forget, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you're kept up to date on all new tutorials, including my spicy rant, which will hopefully be coming out in the next 1 or 2 videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!